You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
How would you like to challenge your little grey cells while reveling in the vintage perfection of David Suchet's Poirot?
If so, then the Labours of a Hercule podcast was made for you.
We're taking a deep dive into every episode of this masterpiece of television and giving you the clues you need to solve the case along with Poirot himself.
We present the case and you solve it.
Whether you're a detective in the making,
or if you just simply want to gush over the genius and art decadence of Agatha Christie,
then subscribe now to the Labours of Hercule wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey there, and welcome to Fan Theory Queries, where we analyze fan theories from all over the internet, but mostly Reddit. I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer.
And I am so excited to be bringing this Freaky Friday fan theory about the Addams Family from 1991. And the theory says, is the Addams Family movie a large-scale ritual to return Uncle Fester to his corporeal form? And this was written by Freed Creativity. So before we dive in, have y'all seen Addams Family?
I don't think so.
Maybe once. It was never something I was super into. I was more into the Munsters growing up than the Addams Family.
But there's no Munsters 90s movie.
That's true.
Yeah.
I know there was a Munsters movie
point.
and it was in color and everything, but oh man, I
I directed
these movies.
the Addams Family musical.
That's right.
It was one of my
And
favorite shows.
It is a really good musical. I really like it. I love these movies. I think the casting is perfection. I mean, everybody is so good. Raul Julia as Gomez and Angelica Houston as Morticia and Christopher Lloyd as Fester. And so we've got our double dose of Christopher Lloyd this week.
That's
we
right.
just talked about a little bit about Doc Brown for our Back to the Future theory last week, and now on last episode on Wednesday. So now we've got more today. Super fun. He's so incredible in this. And then they up the ante in Addams Family Values, the sequel. I love that movie. That one's really good. And they have a little bit of a cast shakeup in there, but I think it's for the better. Anyway, let's move on to the theory. Basically, title. The 1991 movie is the successful ritual to summon Uncle Fester from the great beyond. The opening lines of the movie, after the opening credits. This is Gomez talking to Thing. For 25 years, we've attempted to contact Fester in the great beyond. And for 25 years, nothing. Then the crooked lawyer, Tully, shows up. He and his wife are both grifting from the Addamses. As Tully is being attacked by the polar bear rug, he looks at the painting of Fester and the candle goes out. Tully then plants the Chekhov's gun of the weather book and gets shaken down by a weird mother-son criminal team. The son, Gordon, turns out to look a lot like Fester. Then there's the seance, where Wednesday asks them to ransom Fester from the grave. Clearly, the Addams know he's truly dead. Just then, Gordon, dressed as Fester, knocks and enters the family's life. Afterwards, we have the whole found family dark comedy hijinks. They're so good. They are very dark comedy, and I love it. It's so funny. Anyway, back to the theory. They show Fester warmth and affection he hasn't known from his abusive loan shark mother. He's integrated into the family. They have their doubts. He bonds with his brother and the kids and Morticia. They perform a whole dance to reintroduce him to the whole Addams family at the ball. Oh, and it is so good. And Fester swallows this whole sword and he's got all these. Oh, it's excellent. I love it. Okay, spoilers ahead for a movie from 1991. Then we have Morticia closing the ritual. Mrs. Craven disavows Gordon, who is the guy posing as Fester, and picks up a book. Then Fester disavows his adopted mother and abuser. When he opens the tome, we get a badly composited shot of everything going around and lightning strikes Fester. Tully and Craven land in some open graves to be entombed alive by Wednesday and Pugsley, completing the ritual, offering a ransom of 2 lives for Fester's life. Boom. Closing scene where Fester has gotten all his memories back. It isn't that Fester was actually Gordon, but that the Addams prepared a weird-looking 25-year-old orphan to become the corporeal form for Fester's soul. The whole thing was necromancy, magic, and eldritch horrors from beyond, with a heartwarming twist.
Heartwarming, you say.
I love it. I love it.
I cannot understand Gordon, this Gordon character.
So Gordon is Christopher Lloyd.
Uh-huh.
He is this man that his mother is a loan shark. She's super abusive and mean to him, but he has security issues, and so he has nowhere else to go, no one else to reach out to. He clings to his mother and is just always trying to appease her. And Tully knows Gordon and his mother and noticed this painting with Fester in it, and that knows that they want Fester back, and goes, Gordon, you look a lot like Fester. So they hatch this scheme to fleece the Addams family, because they're pretty well off, to give Gordon to them and convince them that he's their brother Fester, so that he can get his stake in the family. And then I think they're going to try to kill everybody in the family so that Gordon Fester can get the inheritance. But then the real, what they're saying is this actual essence of Fester actually finally comes in and takes over Gordon's body. And so now he is Fester for real.
So what confuses me, or what I'm not grasping, is what makes this a fan theory, and how is it not just what the plot of the movie is?
Because that's never...
We don't know what's supposed to be happening?
Right. When you're watching the movie, you're led to think that Gordon really is the long-lost Fester, that he's just been gone for a long time and lost and had amnesia and forgot about everything. And then being around the Addamses, because all of the time, Gomez is constantly like, remember how we used to do this, and reminding him of all of these things they used to do when they were kids together, that breaks him out of his amnesia.
Okay. But rather than him actually being Fester with amnesia, this person is saying that, no, it really is some other dude, and because of this ritual that happens, Fester's spirit overtakes this poor soul and becomes, or lives as their body.
Yeah, think of it as like Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman 84.
Okay. I will think of it that way. Michael, you follow everything?
I think so now, after the explanation for your question, because I had the same question. It was hard because I didn't know who half of these characters were. I'm just trying to use context clues to piece all of this together. You're saying that Gordon in the movie, not based on the theory, that in the movie, Gordon is actually supposed to be Fester, just with amnesia. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm on track now, or following at least. So.
Okay. Well, it seems like it might be a good time to jump into some comments now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Give a little more context.
Okay. Lucient3214. So they said the original ending was supposed to be that Gordon was never actually Fester, and was just a look-alike all along. But I believe the cast spoke together with the director and asked him to consider Gordon truly was Uncle Fester. Your theory makes sense and is my new headcanon. And
Interesting.
our OP said, fascinating. The ending is kind of out of nowhere. Seems rushed in the last 15 minutes of the movie, but in the last 15 minutes of the movie after the big dance number. I thought, rewatching as an adult, that was going to be the big reveal. The structure of the movie's weird too. And Vidogo says, yeah, there was really no need for him to not be the actual Fester. If the original script writers were trying to make some point about found family or anyone can be an Addams, I understand, but really it worked out better the way it did. And then BZ Delta says, I mean, Fester Skywalker has a nice ring to it. Especially think about, like, because that's Fester from the TV show. Do y'all even know any of the Addams Family TV show?
Yeah.
No.
I do.
In the TV show and on the movie, he can put a light bulb in his mouth and the light bulb will light up. And if that were a lightsaber instead, that'd be
That would
fun.
be funny.
I'm having trouble picturing what these characters look like because I'm not super familiar. Is Fester the one?
Bald one.
And he wears like a black frock or something.
From neck to toes.
Okay.
Look at a picture.
And is Thing the thing with all the hair?
No, that's Cousin It. Thing is the hand, the disembodied hand that runs around.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Would y'all like a bit of movie trivia about why the movie is the way it is?
Don't you want to save that? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Oh, I see. So this is interesting. In a 2012 interview, Barry Sonnenfeld, the director of the movie, stated that he originally intended that it be unclear whether Fester really was an imposter or not, but all the other actors rebelled and chose 10-year-old Christina Ricci to speak on their behalf, who gave this really impassioned plea that Fester shouldn't be an imposter, so we ended up totally changing that plot point to make the actors happy. And they were right. It was the better way to go.
Interesting.
Christina Ricci is such an excellent Wednesday Addams. I mean, she's incredible. I'm so sad that y'all haven't watched these movies. I love these movies so much, particularly Addams Family Values. But yeah, if you get the chance, you definitely should. They're a fun little popcorn and quirky black comedy. It's fun. It's good stuff. And a lot of really great homage is paid to the television show as well, including a scene of Morticia in her greenhouse, and she's got roses growing, and she's cutting the heads off of all the roses, so it's just the thorny stems, and that's it. And she's like, much better.
Yeah, it really is great humor. And I remember watching that series, the Scooby-Doo movies, where they would have a mystery and there'd be a celebrity on there. Like that was the show where they would have like the Globetrotters on there or Phyllis Diller, but there was an episode where they were with the Addams Family. I remember that. That was enjoyable.
And I think it was all the voice actors from the television show did that one.
I believe that it was. But this is interesting. Is it something that you would even like pondered what's going on here, Laura, or just take it at face value?
So like this movie's from 1991. I've been watching this movie since I was a kid. Because there's nothing, I mean, Morticia and Gomez's innuendo, they speak in heavy innuendo. Totally went over my head as a kid. So my parents had no problem with me watching it because I didn't get it. That I just really, the ending that I explained to you, that's what I always believed was that, he really was Fester. He just somehow disappeared, got lost, and went away. And that other woman got him and made him think his name was Gordon and just kind of brainwashed him. But I won't go into it. Never mind. Stop. I won't. I'll wait till after the break. Speaking of break, who wants to be my Lurch real quick? Somebody, Spencer, you want to be Lurch?
Hello, I'm Lurch.
Is Lurch the one that says you rang?
You rang.
Technically, in these movies, he doesn't actually speak words. He just
That's
goes
true.
really deep.
Which makes for a great bit in the musical, because he does the same thing, except towards the end of the movie, he sings a line. Or in the musical, he sings a line in this extremely low register.
Bass.
It's just, and we had the perfect guy play him in our show. He had the perfect voice
Move
for us.
into the darkness. And
That's right. Yes. Mm-hmm. But Lurch, what do you want me to do as Lurch?
I was just going to say, speaking of taking a break, Lurch, could you make sure that we get through the break and head over to our rating system?
How would you like to challenge your little grey cells while revelling in the vintage perfection of David Suchet's Poirot?
If so, then the Labors of Hercule podcast was made for you.
We're taking a deep dive into every episode of this masterpiece of television and giving you the clues you need to solve the case along with Poirot himself.
We present the case and you solve it.
Whether you're a detective in the making,
Or if you just simply want to gush over the genius and art decadence of Agatha Christie,
then subscribe now to the Labours of Hercule wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back from the break. Thank you, Lurch. Michael, before we rate, could you remind us all of our rating scale?
The highest rating that we have is genius. This is reserved for only the best theories, which we believe are better than the actual canon. The next step down is plausible. It's a good theory, it's believable. Unlikely is next. It's not a terrible theory, but pretty unlikely, as the name suggests. And then the last thing is preposterous. These are the theories that are just stupid. Basically, we're all dumber for having listened to them.
Who wants to go first?
Me. I like this. This is enjoyable. And I remember reading through some of these comments, or there's that one specifically that was like, I always thought that the pacing and ending was weird. And of course we learn in real world, it's because they kind of changed the intention at the last minute. But I think it still works. And this is one of those theories that you don't really need a whole lot of evidence for. It's just kind of, it works without points of, well, this is why, or this isn't why. And so I'm going to say it's plausible. This is a plausible theory. I think that it's plausible that this little boy got possessed by the spirit of Fester, which would, fit with the theme and style.
Yeah. I'll say this, having never seen this and not really having a whole lot of knowledge going into it, based off of what we heard in this theory, I would have to agree that it's plausible. I kind of like the idea of it. It's fun. This may be one of those things where I watch the movie and I come back and have to change my rating. But for now, it sounds plausible to me. I kind of like the idea.
Cool. Well, then I'm going to go with genius on this because I like the evidence that OP has given us here about even just Gomez's first line about we've attempted to contact Fester in the great beyond. So
that's true.
They know they think they know his spirit is out there. And they hold this seance, but they are talking about, Wednesday talks about ransoming him. So it would be an exchange. And so they end up killing Tully and, let's see, who was Gordon's mother? I can never remember that character's name because I hate her. She's the worst. Craven. They exchange their lives for Fester's life. And I can see it as maybe not so much that it has to be that Gordon is taken over by Fester. that maybe that Fester and Gordon can merge, because Gordon was starting to become sympathetic to the Addamses because they were showing him love and inclusion and solidarity, loyalty. Loyalty is huge with Gomez. And that was something he had never experienced before. And now I think he would welcome this awareness of Fester in there so that they could both have this beautiful existence with the Addams family. So I'm going with genius.
Awesome.
Cool.
Because you are a genius.
Oh, thank you.
Well, cool. Thanks for this selection, Laura. I felt enlightened and welcomed by the Addams family because you did such a great job of delivering things. But it is time to bring the episode to a close. However, before we do, guys, I know I've done this before, but I like to do it again because I like it. I love getting into the mind of the actor whenever they, learning what goes into their mind, how they prepare for a role, essentially. You get what I'm saying? Like, what does it take for them to get to this particular level? What is their inspiration? Anyway, what they do to prepare. So, in this particular fascinating movie actor detail, comes from user SRH64. To prepare for his role as a human in American Psycho 2000, Christian Bale was born.
Oh my God. When he was born, he was a baby.
Good job, Bale. Good job, buddy. Buddy Bale. I know it's kind of lame, but you know.
Man.
Him and his method acting. Well, on that note, this has been Fan Theory Queries, and I'm Laura.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Spencer, and I'm kind of ashamed of that stinker that I just chose to share. But anyway, it is the end of the show. Subscribe to Fan Theory Queries so you don't miss out on other fascinating fan theories.
Fan Theory Queries is part of the Airwave Media Podcast Network. Visit airwavemedia.com to listen and subscribe to their other fine shows like The Secret History of Hollywood, Who Did What Now? And Into the Impossible.
How would you like to challenge your little grey cells while revelling in the vintage perfection of David Suchet's Poirot?
If so, then the Labors of a Hercule podcast was made for you.
We're taking a deep dive into every episode of this masterpiece of television and giving you the clues you need to solve the case along with Poirot himself.
We present the case and you solve it.
Whether you're a detective in the making,
Or if you just simply want to gush over the genius and art decadence of Agatha Christie,
then subscribe now to the Labours of Hercule wherever you get your podcasts.